So we work on a lot of different stuff, but
Yeah.
how are you guys doing as far as implementing the stuff that we work on in the games?
I use the I use a step back in the pump fake and like that stuff a lot, and it works really well.
I was talking to one of my buddies who's a trainer, and he likes to keep everything really, really simple. And I don't know if you guys follow Gilbert Arenas. He was talking about how, like most players, that like the game is simple. Like the game is one dribble pull ups, catch and shoot, one dribble. Like it's really simple. Um, and there's few people who even have the opportunity to like step backs, elite type moves like Euro steps and stuff like that. There's few people like the guy who like Kyrie Irving does Kyrie Irving stuff,
Yeah.
and the guy sitting behind Kyrie Irving can probably do that stuff, but if he was to do it, he'd be out the NBA because he doesn't have the freedom to be Kyrie Irving. He was Kyrie Irving in college. You see what I'm saying? Like in college, he got to be Kyrie because it was like his world. And then now, when he's in this new role, he's a backup point guard, and it's like, you know, make that pass, set that screen, get us in the offense, and I don't need to see no step backs out of you or whatever. And so my point is, especially like when you guys are doing your club stuff, you got to figure out a place to apply the stuff. Now, you don't have the right to, you don't have the right to ruin a game and lose games just because you're trying to work on different stuff. But you also, the AAU coach don't have the right to just have you in a robotic role where you don't get to expand your game either. And so
Yeah.
my recommendation is, whatever stuff we work on that kind of sticks, like, oh, I see myself getting that move off, it's still not ready. It usually takes thousands more reps. Figure out which moves that you think you kind of work well with, and then spend another hour just working on just that move. Not working on a bunch of stuff, just working on that move. Sharpening it enough so that you can try to apply it. Because the moves don't mean nothing until you can apply them. Like you have to be able to apply them, and it probably won't work. Frankly, like you apply it, it probably won't work. You get it stolen, you'll lose the ball, whatever. But it'll give you valuable feedback to go and work on it for another hour, and then now you may be ready to actually get it off and actually use it against somebody. But it only takes like once or twice for you to actually successfully use it to put that in your game. But the stuff that you guys we work on that you haven't got off in the game yet, like you may do it great in by yourself at home or whatever, but it don't mean nothing until you can actually use it against somebody. Um, but once you use it against somebody, it means the world. Like you have it now. But my whole point is, where do you implement that stuff? You can't try to go use 6 new moves in a game and think everything's gonna be okay. It's just not. Like the coach is gonna get you out of there. And so
Yeah.
I agree that about 90% of the game should be that basic stuff: the jump stop, the ball fake, the finish off 2 feet, the one dribble pull up. But you also got to understand that there's got to be some point where you get a chance to apply some of that stuff. So your AAU coach, I coach 9 AAU teams, and I understand that we're not going to win every game. That's not the goal, to win every single game, and the goal is to develop the players. And the players, in being developed, they have to experiment with some stuff here and there. And so, I don't need 10 different players trying to experiment 10 different things every day. But, if I see a kid do a move and it's like, oh, I never seen that before, it didn't work, it was a turnover, whatever, I'm going to coach him in that moment. I may even bench him for a second and talk to him about it, whatever. But he's there to develop. He's there to develop. So that's a level of accountability where, he's gotta trust himself that he's worked on his moves enough to where he can get this drag step off. Like today, I'm gonna get this drag step off. Today, I'm gonna get this side step off. Today, I'm gonna do a between behind. And you gotta know when to use those different moves and whatnot. But so that doesn't mean that the coach is gonna be on board with you trying 10 different moves and he not coach you. But I think in the big scheme of things, if you're on a team with the coach that's trying to help you develop, he understands that that means not everything's going to work. And in that moment, you may get coached. That means you might get yelled at. That might mean that you get benched for that moment, whatever. But in still, that's being coached. And so, I'll tell you this: Trae Young shoots shots from way beyond where any coach would typically want them to shoot. I'm sure he didn't make the first one, and I'm sure he probably didn't make the second one. But now, you know, you got 5, 6, 7 guards in the NBA that are launching shots up from God knows where. And I'm sure at first their coach was like, man, he done shot a crazy shot, and he probably missed. But he bet on himself and said, I can make this shot. They probably shot, for every one they've made, they probably shot 1,000 in practice, and that's just how it goes. So you got to figure out how to bet on yourself, and without hurting your team, figure out where you could probably get one of those moves off. I remember when I was little, I was like, I'm gonna get a between the legs off in this game. Like I used to dribble up and down from house to house down the street, just working on my between the legs for hours, up and back for hours. And then I'm like, I'm gonna get it off in this game, and probably didn't get it off. Probably took a couple games before I had the confidence to really get it off. And when I did it, it was probably like just did a move that didn't actually benefit me at all, but it was just I got that off. So now I got my first one off, and now I got to go back in the lab and figure out how to get it to be effective where it's going to actually, you know, benefit me and give me an advantage over the defender. But it's progress. It's progress. So I got it off, and I'll take that back to the lab, and that helps me figure out how to get to the next step. So, and that's what I'm asking you to do, is figure out where can you use these moves where it's going to benefit you. And you don't just know. You don't just train and hit the cones and all that stuff and get to that point. You have to get feedback. Like if I cross over and I get ripped at the top of the key and then the guy goes down and dunks it, I'm going to remember that. And the next time I'm working on my crossover, coach ain't got to tell me to get it low. I don't want to get embarrassed again. So I'm getting that stuff as low as can be. So the coach can tell me till he blue in the face, until it hurt, till it sting, until I get ripped and then the guy go down and dunk it. I can't hear none of that. So again, I don't want to make the team lose because I'm trying to get off these moves and whatnot, but I also don't want to be a robot and not develop my game. And so, like, you would be mad if one of your teammates keep doing these 10 different moves that ain't working and you guys are losing because. So I'm not recommending that. But you know, you're there to develop too. So you got to figure out a spot where you can maybe get off one. Maybe if it goes well, then I'll move to this second move, or I'll try it again, or whatever. But you got to figure out how to not just sit on these moves, because it does nothing until you can apply it. It does nothing until you can apply it. And the crazy thing, like I coached at Mount Sac College for a couple of years, and I was thinking, man, I'm about to teach these guys all these elite level. I'm about to make a new Kyrie Irving. Blah. Nah, the coach didn't want to see none of that. He wanted the players to do the basic. Catch it in the corner, knock down the shot. Maybe you go one dribble pull up, but penetrate, kick. That guy slides to the corner. Just the basic stuff, and he's smart. That's what 90% of the shots are going to be. So why spend time working on the 10% when 90% of it is going to be this? We're going to work on the biggest part of the game, but you know, there's still opportunities for you to keep developing your game on your own, outside of practice, outside of the team practice, and try to figure it out. But you have to figure it out. You got to figure it out, and not only work on it, you have to also implement it. You got to figure out where to implement it. But I don't want you to misconstrue that because we do a lot of step backs, hesitations, and you know, different advanced moves, that's the game. That's not the game. That is a small portion of the game. You might get that move off today and not get that move off again for another week. And, you know, it'd be foolish of you to only work on that when there's so many other things you need to be working on. Like, you've seen Shaq dribble the ball up the court, spin, dunk on somebody before. Man, we ain't letting Shaq just dribble the ball up the court. Shaq mastered his role. He mastered
Watch this now, Bob. Watch the power. He just overpowers him, and he comes down, and then he shoves him right there. They call
What's the coach going to do? It's like, man, he giving us so much in his role. Let's afford him the opportunity to do a little bit more, depending on the time and score. Like, you can't do it game on the line, overtime, 30 seconds left, and he just going to push it. Like, that wouldn't work out. But because he does his job so well, all right, big fella, push it up the court one time and give him a spin and dunk on him. And, you know, that's the way the game goes. It's give and take. And the coaches understand that, and the smart players understand that. Once you do implement those things, now you have something you can get to in, like, a really difficult situation. Like, it should not be the goal. Like, it shouldn't be, oh, I'm going to do a drag step against everybody. Or it should be, I made a hard move. My intention is to beat this guy to the basket, but he's so fast, he caught up with me. Instincts kicked in, drag step. Then he's still on me, hesitation. He jumps, I'm to the basket. Like, it should be reaction, not just, oh, I'm going to do this move to everybody like that. It don't work like that. It's like you have to figure out how to get those things to be instincts.